Good. Look great.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Serena, your host, and I'm sitting here with Stephanie. Will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Hoagland, and I am a certified personal trainer, also a local blogger influencer, and for many, many years a marketer, digital marketer, and also a mom. I'm a mom and a wife, and I have teenagers and busy and
Yes.
all those good things.
Sounds very busy. The whole digital marketing thing,
Yes.
we'll connect on
Yes.
that a little
Well, I'm a
bit as
consultant, so
too.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect all the way around. Okay, so I reached out to you because of your fitness background,
Yep.
because of what you do, and can you tell us, so you're wearing a blue shirt today, and I want to start with that. Can you tell us about your blue shirt today?
Absolutely. So March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. My husband was diagnosed with colon cancer at age 37. No family history, clearly not at the age range that he was supposed to have colon cancer, and he's fine. He's fine. We're way past the point of, real danger.
Worry and-
Yeah, I mean, we're like 10 years out now. So,
Oh, good.
But every year, I make sure that, I take time this month to really share knowledge and information about colon cancer. It's affecting more and more young people every year, which is kind of scary. And so this month, Colon Cancer Alliance is an organization I work with. I'm on their committee for their 5K every March. Their color is blue. So today is Wear Blue Day for them, and really just to bring awareness for colon cancer, the prevention and recognizing the symptoms and, talking about how to treat it. So I'm wearing it kind of in honor of my husband, and we've had quite a few friends that have been afflicted with it as well. And, it's something I never forget.
Right.
And I always try to make sure that I'm doing what I can to get the word out.
Yeah, and that's awesome because it's so important that people know like what to look for and just pretty much being so in tune with your body to know, okay, maybe something.
Well, and also
happening,
pushing, because
so.
one of the things that happened with my husband was because he was so young and didn't have any real risk factors, it was missed quite a few times. And it's not the fault of the doctors, they go by statistics. So, it's not really their fault. So they just misdiagnosed it, thinking it was exhaustion or, hemorrhoids or whatever. And it turned out it was colon cancer. And, know this, be really aware of kind of your own body, because I always tell my husband I saved his life and he owes me forever. Because one of the things I kept saying was, you need to go get a physical, there's something wrong with you. And he'd be like, they already said nothing's wrong. And I was like, there were just so many different things now that you look back and you could see like extreme exhaustion and anemia and just things that shouldn't have happened at his age. He was 37. So I pushed him to go get a physical, and during the physical they took blood and they found that he was so severely anemic he should have been already under a doctor's care.
Wow.
And so then he was rushed in for a colonoscopy and they found a mass. So, know your own body and know when to push. I learned a lot during the whole process of his chemo and his treatment and recovery, just about you have to be your own advocate or have someone with more of a clear mind that is your advocate to ask questions and push.
Right.
So so this month is, it's a really important month to me, and it's something that I just found out yesterday. We just found out my husband's friend was diagnosed with colon cancer in early 40s. So it's, it's definitely something that, happens to younger and younger people, and it shouldn't. So.
Right, and nobody is exempt.
No. He had no family history, and it happened. So it's quite a life shock to the whole family, and so yeah. And it kind of, what's interesting is it kind of set me on my health and fitness journey.
That was my next question.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny, it's funny how things lead you to certain things. And coincidentally, around the same time we got his diagnosis, I had started feeling, I was almost 40. I had just celebrated my 10th wedding anniversary, and I remember my husband and I went to Disney World. My husband's a big Disney fanatic. And it's something I knew when I married him, and I'm good with it. I'm not, but I embrace him.
Die-hard Disney fan.
So is my husband, so you would love that. So we went to Disney World for our 10th anniversary, and looking back at the pictures, I had noticed I just didn't look good. I had never really worked out, never been in shape, but I was super uncomfortable in my body, and I just didn't, I didn't feel good. And then I looked at the pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like
Yeah.
you're just kind of affronted with it, you know? And so I had run into a friend of mine coincidentally, and this is
At
kind
Disney?
of, no, at the daycare. No, we had come back and I was looking at the pictures. And no, coincidentally, we were at daycare and I had run into her and I was like, wow, you look so great. What are you doing? And she said, oh, I'm in this boot camp. And I was like, oh. And so I looked it up and it turns out it was like literally right across, like around the corner from my house it was happening. So it was kind of kismet. And so I went the first day and it was so disappointing. And, you know, how could somebody be so out of shape and how can somebody be, you know, and again, I have no fitness background. So I did not grow up as an athlete. I was really good at eating Cheetos on the couch.
And you jumped into a boot camp?
I did. And, you know, you might as well just,
Yeah,
if you make a
that's
decision
awesome.
to do something. And literally 2 weeks later, I found out my husband had colon cancer. So I didn't, but you know how like when your life is out of whack and you don't know what's going on, but you just know that something doesn't feel right.
Something is stirring.
Right, there's some chaos in your life and you're just, but what's even weirder is I'm not a super spiritual or religious person. I'm more, you know, spiritual. And I feel like sometimes things are brought into your life for a reason. And so that woman that I actually ran into who introduced me to boot camp, turns out her dad had died of colon cancer really young.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, and again, 2 weeks later, I found out my husband had colon cancer, just, you know, out of the blue. So it was weird, and she ended up being one of my greatest support systems during this whole time because she, you know, she understood kind of the enormity of it all.
Right.
And it, you know, so her husband came over to mow my lawn when my husband was ill, getting treatment. You know, it's just, I always find it's very interesting how life leads you to things. And then in the other way was it also led me to realize I have this passion for health and fitness.
Yeah.
I didn't know I loved it because I had never been really mentored. I had never been around the right kind of people to show me kind of that. And if you would ask my family back then, you know, or told them that I was, you know, going to be this much into it, they would have started laughing because it was just not Stephanie.
I can relate to that.
Right, it was not Stephanie. And I was always a little chunky. Like I was never fat, but I was always chunky and it was not Stephanie. Let's just put it that way. So, you know, so not only did it give me a support system and I met the most amazing people, right, that helped me through my husband's treatment because I also didn't have any family around here either. I had two very small kids. My son was, I guess, in preschool when we found out. And my daughter was only 2 years older than that. So I had no family here. My husband getting treated for colon cancer. We were both working full time. You know, how do you do all that, right? And so it turned out these 5:45 a.m. workouts were like a savior to me because I knew I could make that time because everybody was sleeping in the house, right? So the only person that really stopped me from being able to do it was me.
Right.
And also, it gave me a wonderful support system of all these women, right? And you know, just to know that I was going to go with all these supportive women and get my stress out and learn new things and do something for me. Because for a year, you know, helping my husband get better, it was a lot about him, right?
Right.
And trying to figure out my kids and make sure they're healthy and their lives are not disrupted terribly and, you know, incorporating this new challenge in our lives. So, yeah, so I, you know, it's funny. So it not only, you know, gave me these people to help, but it also helped me discover something that I have for me and I still have it. You know, this love for health and fitness and helping people change their lives because that's what I did. And it also gave me kind of a good story to tell because I think people a lot of times always say they don't have time.
Yeah.
And right? I mean, you don't have time, right? You don't have time. Which is so funny is because here I was working full time. I'm not rich, you know, I don't have a chef. I had no family here. My husband was going to Georgetown Lombardi Cancer Center every other Tuesday. And I still managed to work out 3 times a week, discover, you know, I think I lost 33 pounds during that time and, you know, changed my life. And, you know, all while that was all going on. So when people say they don't have time, I always call BS on that.
Yeah, because it's not, when you think about whether you have time for something or not, I want you to try this to our listeners and viewers. Try saying whether you believe that task at hand that you might want to take on, whether not I don't have time, but is it a priority?
Yes.
Because if it's a priority, then you will make the time for it.
You will.
And
how can you not say you're not a priority?
Exactly. So there you go. So that takes the whole time constraint and like the negative thoughts and or constricting thoughts about it that way completely out of the equation.
It's a different filter on it.
It is. So now just to be able to maybe wake up an hour, or like you said, that was 5:45. That's really
I had to be
early.
there at 5:45.
Yeah,
so
that's really
But you know
early.
what? It was important to me.
Yeah.
And the only person that could stop me from losing that hour of sleep was me, right?
Mhm.
And so I did everything to make it easier, right?
Right.
So I laid out my clothes the night before, so I didn't have to think about that, the workout stuff. And I have this little trick I did was I called sleep kind of the monster, the sleep monster, right? And so when the alarm goes off, the sleep monster wants you to stay in bed. Trust me. Like it's hard to talk them out. So you just don't talk to yourself. You don't hit snooze. The alarm goes off. You turn it off, and you're up.
Yeah.
And that way, you don't let your mind talk to you.
Right.
And and everything was ready. I put on my clothes, brushed my teeth, and I was out the door.
That's
and
amazing.
and there was no no. Right? I mean, that was my
It
commitment.
just wasn't an option.
Right,
No,
it wasn't an option. Right, and I was cold, and this boot camp was outside. So in the winter, it was cold, and
Jeez.
but I loved the people that I was with, so that was part of it. Was, that was the only time I got to see these ladies too.
Yeah.
So if I missed a boot camp, I didn't.
Then you didn't get to see your
I
friends.
didn't get to see my
Yeah.
good friends, right? And so it's funny is when people leave places like that, you miss them, and it's hard to find ways to fit them into the regular course
Yeah.
of your life. So here you had a regular schedule, right? 3 times a week I would meet my friends, and we would have a great time working out. It was fun. We laughed, we made fun of each other, we encouraged each other, we challenged each other. And I'm still friends with a lot of them. So in fact, tonight I'm going to charity at the YMCA at Lansdowne for one of them that just started a new business, and she was one of the original boot camp ladies. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned that you're a blog writer.
I am.
And how does that fit into everything?
So that's a funny story. So I ago, and I always tell my kids that I was at the place that started, the whole social media kind of thing. So I started my career at AOL back right out of college. So like right out of college, mid-90s. So, one of the things when my husband got sick was he worked at AOL, I worked at AOL, and we worked in different areas. So think about how many people we knew, right? But different people. And everybody kept asking me about how my husband was. And while, I didn't mind occasionally, but it was getting to be to the point where it was and they all had the greatest intentions. So what I decided to do was just start a blog about it, right? So people didn't have to ask me, they didn't have to feel uncomfortable. I didn't have to get the the head tilt, how are you, So I had started this blog and, really just as sharing our experiences about his treatment and the whole journey, and my fitness was in there. And then, after a while, the treatment ends, my husband's better, and I just started to really focus on health and wellness as my passion grew. And so, not only do I share workouts, but I started to just share my own experiences as I was learning about new things, because again, I didn't grow up health, wellness person. I didn't grow up being in shape or knowing anything about that. So as I was learning things, it was fascinating to me. And so it was my online journal, really, if you think about it. New ideas, recipes I wanted to keep, all kinds of stuff. It was all, so my blog is called Live Fit and Soar, and it's SORE, but it's, a play on words, soaring, to your highs. And I kind of took a play on that because, Live Fit, Live Soar is all about, or Live Strong was Armstrong, Lance Armstrong's organization, and my husband had cancer and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh man, every day I'm sore because I worked out so much. And so I was like, let's just call it Live Fit and Soar. And one of the things I decided to kind of do was, it's a very authentic blog. So it's really things that I find interesting, right? And again, like I said, it's a journal about my fitness journey. And it's been, 10 years, more than that probably. There's a link to the old cancer one too, which still helps a lot of people when they get diagnosed, because you kind of see what we've gone through, in our treatment. But I really just share, a lot of things. And then as I got my certification and actually, first I was a CrossFit trainer, so I have a CrossFit certification and
Amazing.
Coached a lot of CrossFit classes and helped a couple of CrossFit gyms develop here and through community and marketing. But I started to kind of share more training and just, fitness stuff I started to incorporate that. So, you know, it's kind of a smorgasbord of things, you know, and lately I've been doing, you know, I haven't been blogging as much, to be honest with you. I've been doing a lot more, you know, focusing on Instagram, social media, that kind of stuff, but it's all related to
absolutely.
Health and wellness and living your best life, which is, I think we talked about that earlier before this, was just that, you know, living fit and soar is really about living your best life, right? And so, you know, that includes working out because that helps you be healthy and look your best and feel your best.
And live longer.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I mean, science has proven that lifting
Yes.
weights extends your life. I mean,
Right, and also, you know, and discovering things about yourself,
Yes.
right? Continuing to learn and challenge yourself, and one of the things I always say is you got to be comfortable living uncomfortably, and that's so hard for people. It's hard for me, and it's a skill you have to practice all the time.
this right here, what we're doing right now, is extremely uncomfortable
Yes.
for me. So I say that with all of the love. Not like I don't want to be
No,
here
but,
right now.
but you know, because
brand
it's
new.
scary.
It's brand new.
Right, but that's fun, right? Isn't it kind of fun?
It's so much fun, but I grew up so introverted. I would find like the smallest rock to crawl underneath and didn't talk to people, would never engage. The only people that I would ever communicate with were the people that were related to me, that I was forced to speak with. People always used to terrify me. And then one day I woke up and I was like, I want to be a yoga instructor. And my husband said, what?
You gotta actually be comfortable around people, right?
Yeah, so and it just kind of grew
It's an
from
intimate
there.
thing,
So,
yoga too, especially.
yeah. And so now, like you said, to be uncomfortable every day, to get out of your in the discomfort is where growth happens.
Absolutely.
Is where change happens.
Right, and
So-
what I find is people that don't do that, that's when, you know, the depression sets in. That's
Yeah.
when the resentment sets in. And for a long time, I would put up with a lot of things because I was scared to move on. I was scared to try. You know, what happens if I do this? You know, what horrible thing? But,
What
you
if
know,
I fail?
What if I fail? You know, what if I fall? You know, how about what if you don't? You know,
Yeah.
and so it's really changing. I use a lot filter. It's changing how you see something. It's changing how you respond to something. So I always, you know, I just actually made a huge change the last 2 weeks in my life about where I'm training and how I'm training and changing kind of my whole approach to training. And you know, at first it's scary, but then I reminded myself, because it's a skill I've developed, is, you know, let's lean into it. Let's see where it takes me. What's the worst that could happen, right? I mean, and sometimes the worst is bad, you know, don't get me wrong, but you know, if you have the right people around you, if you have a good support system, and if you have, you know, confidence in kind of, you know, that you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And what I find is 9 times out of 10 you will be okay. In fact, you'll be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And then just learning from, even if it's, you know,
Failing,
a mistake, or whatever you want to call
I've made
it,
lots of them.
to learn and grow. I mean,
Yes.
because you're not going to learn and grow if you're not doing anything to grow from.
Right.
And that brings me to my next question is, as you were working out and growing yourself, what was there a pivotal moment for you that made you decide that you wanted to get your personal trainer certification, your CrossFit certification, to help other people? Like, was that?
Well, I had learned so much in what I saw from other trainers. One of the things I think, and it's not all trainers, so I don't make a generalization, but a lot of trainers out there have always been in shape. And they have been athletes, right? So they grew up in shape, and a lot of them are young men, right? And what I found as I was kind of at the gym or at my boxing class or whatever was, they didn't know how to coach women like me.
Yeah.
They didn't know certain cues to tell me that helped me learn, right? And I learned them on my own, but so what I constantly kept going, well, if they just told her this, or, you know, so I was thinking. And the other thing is, so one of the things when you just said that you would crawl under a rock, someone once told me that I could make friends with a rock, right? And I was like, is that a compliment? I'm not really sure if that's even a compliment, but I'm going to say it is, right? So I'm really good with people. I literally can you can invite me to any party, my husband and I, and we would be fine. And I think it's I'm an Eastern Jersey girl, and I'm in marketing, which, you gotta understand and be able to talk to people. And
You've never met a stranger.
right, I really haven't. And so I think the combo of both, and that because I really cared.
Yeah.
And so I saw these people not really making progress and not really learning to do it, that I said, you know what, and being told constantly, you should be a trainer, thank you for your help.
Yeah.
You inspire me, all of those things fed my, maybe I should just do this. And I didn't really do it to think I was going to become a full-time trainer, because quite frankly, you really probably can't send your kids to college and
being a personal trainer.
Right, I have 2 teens, so but I have a wonderful husband that's supportive, and he's like, I want you to be happy. So if this is something that you want to go for, then let's do it. So that's kind of what I decided, was that I wanted to help people, and I had a real passion for it, and I was pretty good at it, because I went through it.
Yeah.
I think it's very telling when, I went from being completely out of shape at that boot camp to now being in super shape, so, and I still have challenges. So, I still I have challenges with my diet, I know what I'm supposed to do. We all know what we're supposed to do. That doesn't mean it's easy.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I still have those mental blocks in my head, but I recognize them, and I've had a couple trainers in my own experience that they don't get it. They don't get when you've had a really hard workout and you start crying, right? Because you've held so many things in, and all your strength was to hold the stress that you're having in your life.
Yeah.
You have the hardest workout and you just break out in tears. And I remember one coach telling me, "Why the hell are you crying?" And I was like, "I have a lot going on, And so I get it, I get how hard it is. And I get that it's a journey, right? That you can't just give up meat tomorrow if that's what you want to do, that you got to do it in small steps.
Baby steps.
Yes.
I really feel like no matter what your goal is, whether it could be a fitness goal, a health goal, a financial goal, a life goal, whatever it is, if you say, so let's just say, for example, my goal is to have $1 million. Now, I'm not going to directly set my goal that I'm doing today to be a millionaire, because that's unrealistic. Now, I'm nowhere near a millionaire, so it is unreal. If you're close, it might be more realistic, but I'm not. So what I would then do is say, okay, what are my different avenues of income? What are my talents that I can develop to set those small daily goals, set weekly goals.
That get you closer to?
Yeah, a 6-month goal, set a 1-year goal, and to just bring you there eventually. Because when you're hitting those small markers for yourself, checking off one thing from your list at a time, that feels really good.
And you're getting closer.
And you're getting closer. And then one day you're going to wake up and you're going to say, I have abs. How did that happen?
Yeah. And your goal might change after a while, you know what I mean? So, that reminds me, so when I was working full-time as a marketer, I had a lot of young, interns and people fresh out of college working for me. And they would always want to go straight to how we're going to execute something. And I would say, okay, let's go in this meeting, right? Let's go. We need to talk about the steps, right? So you guys want to go from A all the way to Z, right away. But there's A, B, there's a whole bunch of letters in the middle, so we have to break it down, And I think sometimes the younger generation, and I hate saying stuff like that because it's like I'm such an old lady, there's no layaway anymore. When I was a kid, there was layaway, and it was so normal, right? And now everybody wants something now. And a lot of it has to do with social media and the access to information, and, Amazon Prime, you get it in a day. We used to have to wait, forever, right? And I think look at that. The Amazon Prime cup. We used to have to wait, and I think there's something to be, there's benefits to getting things right away, but realistically, most things that are worth something intrinsically to you are worked for, right?
And it's not easy.
And it's not easy, and you get a lot of different paths to get there, and sometimes you get roadblocks, And I always remember having to, every time I would get a new younger employee, having to explain that to them was because they would go, well, we're just going to do this. And I'm like, whoa, 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 let's take a step back and really think about whether that's the right thing to do. And, you know, so that's kind of how I approach most of my clients when I train them too. Is, you know, let's talk about what your goal is, and then let's talk about all the different things that have to be done to get to that goal. And let's pick a few, because we're not gonna be able to do them all right now, you know, or let's pick a little bit of each, you know, and, you know, and let's check in and let's see how we're doing, you know. And again, they might decide that the scale isn't important to them at that, you know, in 3 months down the road, that they just want to be strong, you know, or that they want their back to stop hurting, or, you know, they want to feel like they're a badass. Right? Because I know
because they can flip tires.
Right. Or lift barbells, right? You know, one of the things so I'm a lifter. I love to lift heavy things. You know, I always say that I have very broad shoulders, and one of the things, I think my ancestry, we were born to carry sacks of potatoes on on my shoulders, because I'm a heavy lifter, right? I do a lot of deadlifts and that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I love to do is teach women, especially, but even like teenage girls and young women, how to lift and lift properly, so that even though they're training with me, they can go into a gym and feel comfortable enough to know what they're doing. And that doesn't mean, because I think that's the other thing that's missing in trainers, right? It's just follow what I do. As opposed to, let me teach you and let me explain to you what this is doing and why we're doing it. And, you know, that doesn't mean taking, you know, 15 minutes of our session to talk about that. That's really just explain, okay, we're going to do back today, and here's, you know, here's how to do it. You know, here's where the power is coming from. Really explain to them, and then each time explain to them and make sure they understand. Because one of the things is, they shouldn't need a trainer for the rest of their lives unless they want it.
Right.
But they should feel comfortable.
She's laughing at me.
I'm not laughing at you, no. I'm just like enjoying this so much because it's literally why we started doing it.
Yeah, so I love it, especially, so I have a teenage girl, and you know, one of the things that I love is to show an example, right? So I have a general practitioner who is awesome, and you know, one of the things I said was, I don't understand why I'm not real thin. I don't, you know, work out and, you know, whatever. And I always appreciate this. He held up a pencil and he said to me, Stephanie, you are never going to be this thin. It's not how you're built. And, you know, that doesn't mean that, you know, forget everything and just, you know, get fat, you know. But I am never going to have skinny arms. It's just not how I'm built. And I could starve myself to now till whenever. It's just not going to happen.
But that's something that's so misperceived as far as like the media goes, because I feel like somebody who might be not even overweight, but whatever, just says, okay, I want to start working out because I want to look like that girl on TV.
Well, there's filters now too.
And there's just real
and plastic surgery, you know.
And to be completely honest, when I started working out and following different YouTubers for working out, that's how I started. I would say, okay, this girl right here, I want to look like her. And that's so unhealthy, because now I only want to look like me. I don't want to look like you. I want to look like me. I just want to be a stronger version of who I already am.
But you know, in all honesty, I still fight that, right? So I've been working out for 10 years, and there's no one that knows me that doesn't think I'm already in shape. Some people say I'm crazy, but I just have a real passion for it, and I love it, and it's a stress reliever for me. So that's why I do it, and I try different things constantly. So I'm also not the kind of person that just over fatigues my body. I'm all about taking different approaches to it. And I think as you get older, you have to do that, right? Because you'll get injured if you continue to do repetitive movements. But I still have problems, like even, I'll be honest, even coming here, I was like, well, what if they think I don't look like I'm in shape? What if they think I look fat? What if they think, oh my God, what the hell are we talking to her about? I mean, she's not a good role model. And then, you know, I have to stop myself and say, you know what, fuck it. I know I'm you know, I'm sorry.
No, you are, because
I'm from New Jersey.
It's all set up for that.
These same thoughts, like, what should we wear? Because what if you coming here...
Is my ankle okay, you know?
What if this person coming here, you get here and think, well, what do these people know about
this? But that's the other thing is, and one of the reasons why I share so much on social media about stuff is, Because one of my favorite quotes is by C.S. Lewis, and it's, we read to know we're not alone. And I think because there wasn't social media or internet back then, I think it's expanded, right?
Yeah.
So the other day I shared actually on an Instagram story, and it's not about that, but about change and just what I talked about earlier. And the amount of people that responded to me, first of all, I didn't even know anybody really watched my Instagram stories. I was hoping, but who knows, right? But the amount of people, even former clients, reached out to me and they were like, thank you. It came at a time that I needed it, because I struggle all the time, and I do. I sit there and think about, what if someone, like one of my clients is looking at me like, why would I be inspired by her, but I have learned enough now to kind of change the filter that I'm seeing things. But what if they don't think that? What if they, what if I know I'm passionate, right? And I know I've changed my life, and I know I've been through things, and I know I can help people.
Yes.
And so I have to, those are my mantras when I start to feel like I'm thinking that, because otherwise you'll just go down in a very deep black hole, and you'll be, it can sink you. It's like the sleep monster, right? It can stop you.
Yeah.
And you have to, and maybe it comes with age too. You have to be able to say, you know what? I am going to be me, and I'm going to do me, and with the best intentions. And the people that get me will get me, and the people that don't,
then find somebody else. Yeah. And I feel like that comes, you said with age, but I feel like it also comes with experience. I've had several people not work with me as a training client not because I'm not in shape, but I'm younger. Even though I've been working out for so long, I've only been certified for almost 2 years. So they perceive that as a lack of experience, and
those aren't your people.
Yeah, they're not my people. And because I don't necessarily articulate things very well, because I get so excited, so everything just kind of comes out at once, and I'm very loud and
You're
silly,
new to this extroverted thing, right?
I am. So I have people that are like, and that's
why nobody's in competition, right? I always say, so I have a lot of friends that are trainers, right? And we're all after the same people, right? Yeah. But we're really not. I have a very different approach. We can all do the same workout routines as a trainers, and it still comes out differently. How you respond to your clients, the experiences you bring, the filters with how you see things, right? Just like I said, a younger guy that's never been out of shape may not explain things to a woman like me the way I need to, so that I can learn them. Right. But yet we could still be both teaching. So, those aren't your people. Right. And that's what I've realized. I'd rather have 4 people that get me and I can really help, as opposed to, like I said, I'm never going to make a living at this, because I really am I'm not out for the money, right? Yeah. But I'd rather do that. And even people that don't see me anymore, I still text, we still talk, because you've made an impact on their lives.
And there's nothing like that. Right. That's amazing.
And that's why I do it. Because I know how much joy and experience and comfort and support it has brought me in my life.
And you said it happened to you very, serendipity. I feel like you are happening now to other people in that same manner.
I hope so.
So that would be my continued hope for you and for us as trainers and influencers.
That big,
yeah. That I have air quotes.
What's your career? I'm an influencer.
I'm
That's
a
great.
people person.
Well, young kids now, they're like, what do you want to be? I want to be a YouTube influencer.
My 13-year-old wants to be an influencer.
I'm like, okay.
And hey, make it work.
Yeah, it's a new career, right? It's a new career.
It's something new. I don't really know what that means, but go ahead, you do you. It's fine.
As long as you're influencing
the right thing.
Oh man.
Please.
So I really just feel like I don't believe in coincidence. I am a very firm believer that everything happens for a reason. People are in our lives for a reason. We see things for a reason. We experience things for a reason, and it's all for the greater good, to build our own selves, to build our own character. And the things you experience, things you can see, they can either tear you down, like you said, or you can use those things to build you up. So now I really loved how everything that you're saying is just very awesome. So how you got into training, fitness, is just how I believe the people who are your people are going to be the way that they get into fitness as well. Because you don't know if if somebody, so say a new person goes to the gym and has a bad experience with a trainer, they may never do it again.
Right.
So you are who you are and exactly where you are in this moment in time for a very specific reason.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's challenging because when you really decide to go after it, I have a friend that, I was like, I'm still applying for marketing, full-time job. He goes, Stephanie, you need to pick one and stick with it. Mm-hmm. He's like, you just need to make a decision and go for it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. But as scary as that was, but I was like, you know what, he's right. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still do some marketing consulting, but I just decided that maybe that traditional corporate life is not for me.
Yeah.
And, so thank you for saying that, because that's really why I do it. I really genuinely like people. Like, I love to teach women, that they're badasses, right? That they can do it, that the barbell's not scary, and that, you you redefine yourself, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I also like to do is help women realize that, you're not only a mom, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things, especially around here, we're all in the suburbs, is, once you have kids, a lot of the women I had met, when my kids were kind of growing up more, when they were younger, is they become all about their kids. Oh my God, my precious angels. And I'm going to drive them everywhere, and I'm going to live for them. And then I think to myself, well, yes, I mean, your kids are very important to you, but your kids grow up and then they move on.
And then who are you?
And then who are you? But also, who are you to your spouse? If you have a boyfriend or a significant other, who are you, right? They fell in love with you for a reason, right? You were a person. You were funny. You were beautiful. You took care of yourself. You had hobbies, right? You had chemistry. And then what happens is we have kids, and this is men and women. We kind of let ourselves go because and sometimes, again, circumstances happen. It happens, right? But you forget who you are. Mm-hmm. And I think
you get busy in the day-to-day. I don't have kids, but you get busy in just the day-to-day and the routine. And then
right, and all the needs. But what are you teaching your kids, right? So I have a daughter and a son. And one of the things that I am most proud of is I'm teaching them that it's okay that mom takes time out to take care of herself. It's okay that mom cares about, watching certain makeup tutorials. It's okay because that's who mom is, Stephanie is, right? And that's who my husband, Scott, that's who Scott fell in love with, And I'm different, obviously.
You're just going to make me cry. This is just everything that we believe in. We were actually just talking about.
Well, so when I find, and they gain weight, and then they're like, well, I don't have any time because I have to drive my kid to the soccer. And I get it, carpool, but you know what? The soccer field has a track probably.
Track around it, yeah, run around it.
I'm not one of those that you don't have to be crazy and lift like I do and go all at it and be like a warrior. One of my clients calls me a warrior, and I laugh. I'm like, yeah, sure. And move your body. Mm-hmm. That's it. And also, I always think about what is the example you're setting for your kids. Mm-hmm. Are you saying mom's not important? She's not a person, right? I need my time. Yeah. And you are not my entire life.
And they watch you.
They watch me. So I don't want my daughter to think she has to give up everything she wants for, because dinner has to be on the table. And, and one, it creates very, not self-sufficient is their word, kids, right? Mm-hmm. And I grew up with a single mom, and maybe that's my filter that I see things at, because I had to do a lot of stuff that, maybe kids my age probably didn't have to do. But, I am my own person too. And I have things I want to do in life that may or may not include my husband, right? I'm a person.
Yeah.
And I want my daughter to believe that. And I want them also to, we're all busy, but mom still makes time for it. Mm-hmm. Mom makes this a priority. Yep. Taking care of her health is a priority. Mm-hmm. And, mom's about challenging. They make fun of me all the time. They're my kids, right? Mom, you're so lame. Or they probably don't even use the word lame anymore. But,
no, my 8-year-old just discovered lame, right? We're always talking about it.
My kids are onto new words, and I'm like, one of them said, to go off, but one of my kids said, you don't want no smoke, Mom. And I was like, Nady, honey, I don't smoke. And he's like, Mom, oh my God, right? And I had to, and I'm like, tell me what it means. He goes, no, I'm not gonna tell you. So I had to look up Urban Dictionary, and now I know. And I say it to him, he goes, Mom, please don't say that. But I'm like, you don't want no smoke, dog.
I like to use all like the old words from when we were kids, like rad and.
I use hip, and my daughter's like,
yeah.
no one says hip anymore. I go, yes, they do.
My husband makes fun of me for saying hip. He goes, how old are you?
But I had a friend one time tell me that if you have to tell people you're hip, or if you have to tell people you're funny, you're not. Right? So, so I think it's so important that, you're what your kids learn from, right? You're their example. They do what you do. And so, my kids, my working out is a priority for me. It doesn't mean that their needs are not met, or it's just that maybe they have to wait, or they don't get everything that they want right when they want it, or they have to fend for themselves sometimes,
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because on the flip side of it, because my kids, they do the same. Okay, I do have them wait, and they do see us take care of ourselves. And they get their own snacks after school, they sit down, they read their books, they do their homework, all while Aubrey and I are, whether we're working and because we're building this business right now, or we're working on working out or writing programs or whatever it is that we're doing, but it's good for them. My daughter, my 8-year-old, brought home a poster that she made in school all about what it means to her to be healthy, because they're like making smoothies in school and talking about food. She drew a pair of dumbbells and said, if you want to be healthy, lift this. Yep. Don't eat this with like a piece of candy with an X through it. And so they're watching.
Yes.
They know.
They are. And my 16-year-old, my daughter, I'm so, when I was a kid, again, I was not in shape. My mom did yoga, but she also worked a lot. And I just, not blaming my mom at all. I love my mom.
I didn't grow up this way either.
Right, and so, but I love that my daughter goes to the gym with her friends and they do stuff. And she'll ask me to give her some moves or train her occasionally. And she doesn't want me to train her, let's be clear about that. But, but she's not, like, to me, at that age, thinking about going to the gym. Oh, no, I'm not going to. Right, but it's normal to her because her mom, and they love to see that I'm strong, right? They love to, and I always tell my kids I can kick their ass, you know what I mean? Because they're very tall. My husband's a very tall man, and so my kids are now towering over me, and I'm still like, I can kick your ass. So, I don't care how short I am.
You better go to the gym.
Right, but I think it's important that they see that their mom's also strong, right?
Yeah.
And that, I might not fit into the traditional, YouTube looking, star, but but I think we're doing a disservice to our kids when we make it all about them.
Absolutely, entitling them, making them think that the world revolves around them, when it
sacrificing anything we want for our little angels, right? And no,
not in this house.
Absolutely no. And they're not. I always say to my daughter or my son, when you get older, no one's just going to buy you something, or no one's going to be there to just push you. Like, you have to learn those. You got to have some grit.
Yeah,
I call it grit.
Our son just turned 10 a couple of days ago, and there was something. Do you remember what it was? Was it like a Nerf gun? What was it that he wanted, and he asked me for money to like buy him?
I think it was,
It might have been a Nerf gun. I think that's pretty much all he plays with. So it might have been a Nerf gun, and he was like, so this is what I want. And I was like, if you want something, you have to deserve it. What are you doing to deserve it? And he's like, well, I said, you're going to have to earn money. What are you going to do? Because I don't give them allowance.
I don't either.
Because I believe that they should be helping around the house. So he
doing normal house chores or normal. You don't get that's rent.
Last time it snowed, he went out and he was shoveling driveways for money, and now my 10-year-old has earned himself enough money to go buy the Nerf gun that he wants.
Yes.
So I think it's very important that they learn those things.
Because as you get older, no one's going to do stuff for you like that.
Nobody's just going to.
Maybe if you're lucky, they will. But I think chances are it's not going to happen. And so I think that's part of what motivates me and keeps me doing it too. Was I know they're watching, and it's all part of bringing up successful grown-ups. Successful kids, and I see so many women just forget that they are who they are, and then and also. like I said, your spouse or your boyfriend, girl, they married you or they are with you for a reason. And so all of a sudden you have these kids and life becomes busy and, you just stop being that person, then what's left, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying that you don't change or you grow, and sometimes people grow apart, but the essence of who you are, people forget. And that's what they fell in love with. They fell in love with the way you took care of yourself. They fell in love with, the hobbies you had and all of that. And I just found, I've met so many women that don't, like, until they hit about 40, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, I mean, a lot of them, a lot of my clients are in their 40s now, but I think it's so important because I think that's what happens. A lot of my friends now, I'm finding out about divorces and stuff like that. I think people forget to invest in themselves and each other and invest in themselves for each other.
Yeah.
Marriage is work. And, part of that work is keeping the essence of what attracted you to each other. And so it's not just a woman thing about how you look and, not being overweight and whatever. It's men too. I mean, I've seen so many men, the big Buddha belly comes and they sit and play. My husband's a big gamer, so sometimes I have to knock him in the head and go, dude, get off the damn video games,
Take a lap.
Yeah. Or how about, let's fix the light that needed to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the essence that, my husband allows me to have my hobbies and be me, which was when we met, I was my own person too. And so I think working out for me and meeting all these people is kind of me investing in me as a person. And it has all these other benefits. So
it was very much so. Women were pregnant barefoot in the kitchen, and my mom is an exception to that. She was very bullheaded and went like her own direction, and but that's who I resonate with, that heritage. And for a very long time I was like, this is my spitting out kids once a year for the rest of my life. That's who I am.
It's what you knew.
It's what I knew. And then, like I said, one day I woke up and I was like, I want to be a yoga instructor, and everybody was just so flabbergasted. And I was like, and the passion for this is only evolving. And
that's what, but see, you know what? You're investing in yourself. You're challenging yourself. You're creating you as a whole person, right? Yeah. And your spouse should be a whole person, and together, you make a life, right?
Yeah,
and so
it's amazing.
It is.
And same with my husband, Josh. He was not somebody who was in the gym all the time when we met. Now, he was in shape. I mean, he was prior military, so he was in shape when we met. So I just ouch.
Maybe we should edit that one. I don't know. So this video's forever. Just so you know.
The internet doesn't forget anything.
No. We're just talking. We're just talking.
Well, my husband and I have been together for 11 years, and I was just remembering, my 21-year-old husband.
Yeah, no, I have the same memory. I have the same memory. So yeah.
And now I already forgot what I was saying. So.
Well, we got a little detour there.
But
you were talking about your husband.
He works out now.
Right.
He goes to the gym now on his lunch break from work, and
it's a priority to him.
It's a priority to him now, and he does his own thing. Like the gym for him, fitness for him is something different than it is for me. So that's not something that we'll go to the gym together every once in a while, but that's not typically something like this is mine.
Right.
That's his.
We thought. Going to the gym, all of us, because I'm like staying here now, got the gym membership, super stoked that it was something that we would all like go and do.
Like another family activity.
Try it a couple times.
No, it's your own journey, right? Yeah. It's your own journey. And again, that's one of the reasons why when I meet with my clients, it's like, what are your goals, right? What are your challenges? And, it really is, I could have the same workout for each of my clients, if it's back day, right? I have a back focus. It's not the same workout for each of them because everybody has their own thing and their own way they like, just like you said, there's some people are auditory, some people are visual, some people are, what's that called? Dexterous, or like when they need to feel stuff. I know. Everybody has their own reasons and their own way they work out, right? And so, you can't really share it
Yeah.
You know, even when you're in a group class, everybody's a little different, right? Their perception of how much they push. That's one thing I've learned about training is my perception of pushing, right, and really going all out is very different than someone else. Everybody's got a different filter. It all goes back to filters and how people see and their own experiences and what led them to where they are. You know, you'd be amazed at how many people think that they're really pushing themselves and they're not, right? As a yoga teacher, you probably know that. And just, you know, and you have to be very gingerly, because sometimes pushing them too hard or pushing them the wrong way will totally, they'll shut down.
Offset them,
Right, because I've had people that yell at me. It doesn't bother me, but I know if they yelled at someone else, oh my God, right? Or having to work in a set with somebody at a gym.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, I don't want to work out with men, right? I don't want to share, you know? So it's your own thing, right? And, you know, some people can work out together, I guess. You know, I've never been one of those people.
That's us.
We mostly do, but then there are some days that, you know, you're like, you want to go to the gym? I'm like, I know this is our schedule. It's supposed to be back day. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do cardio. Go do your thing. And I just want to do something different.
And I always find that for me, I work out a lot, and so it's very hard to find someone that works out at my level, and so it's hard to find someone that can probably keep up. Or so one of the trainers, a friend of mine that I train, we do work out together, but she's constantly saying, "Oh my gosh, look how much weight you're doing," and I should be. And I'm always like, "You can't compare."
You have to get out of that.
It's mental. Yeah.
She's been working out. Well, you're a personal trainer. I'm not. Probably longer than I have. So it can be like intimidating sometimes.
Right. So you have to change your filter, right?
You're doing something, and I'm like, I can't do that much. And then other days, one exercise we were doing.
Yeah, the T-bar. We were doing T-bar rows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh, I only did 8. And then just my mental focus that day was, no, I'm gonna do 9.
I am gonna do 9.
Well, no, because I just knew that I could still do it.
Well, you know, and everybody's body's different, right? And so there are advantages that I have, right, based on the way my body is, as opposed to someone else, right? So everybody's got like a lean, right? So they lean into, lean is probably not the right word, but everybody's got kind of their thing.
Yeah.
Right. I was, in fact, my husband and I were just talking about this last night. Someone like Michael Phelps, you know, they say medically, right, physiologically, his body, like his lungs, are made to swim the way they are, right? So he's got an advantage, right? He's born to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, there'll be some weight exercises that I can do till the end of the earth, right? And someone else will be like, oh my God, that's the worst. Sort of like running, right? I hate cardio. I hate running.
See, Aubrey's really good at cardio.
Right.
I mean, she's got more stamina for it than I do. I can get on a treadmill or the elliptical for like 5 minutes and I'm like, all right, you done?
Well, I also think my mind's like not into it either. But right, I'm not a cardio girl. I'm a weightlifter. I mean, I do, you know, some cardio, but
because it's important.
It is boring.
It's boring, but it's important.
Terribly boring. You know, and I prefer weightlifting for my cardio. You know what I mean? Like that's how and boxing, I box. So I love that because there's a mental challenge to that. And you do 3 minutes of real cardio and then you're like, oh, I can take a break for this.
Are you a music listener?
I am.
Okay. Then see, that's why I love cardio.
Oh no, I do. No, I absolutely.
It's just blasting
Oh,
it,
yes.
and then I just get lost in just music, and that's why she hates it.
I think it's because it hurts. No,
I don't listen to music.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh no, I do. I love it. No, but you know, also it hurts. Cardio is hard for me.
Yeah.
And so to have to do it, well, it's hard.
One of the main reasons why I push cardio the way that I do on my clients is because, well, first of all, because I work with new people and you don't know what you don't know until you don't know
That's
it.
true.
So if you don't know that you love cardio until you do cardio, then I'm going to push you to do it until you're like, either this fucking sucks or this is
And
life.
also, you can't just lift weights and lose weight. You can't,
Right.
like, especially for
It has to
women.
be more dynamic.
You
than
have
that.
to, right.
But I was a smoker
So was I.
for 15 years.
I don't know, how, but I was too. Me too.
I started
had lung problems still.
Yeah, I started smoking when I was 15 years old. I'm now 33. Over the last 2 years, I quit and started smoking several times, but was finally able to give it up, and I have not had a cigarette in 6 months.
That's awesome.
Yes, and now I feel fantastic. I feel better than I ever have, and I was like, well, maybe now I can do cardio. No, Still don't do
You know,
cardio.
I quit smoking
But-
in 2008 and I still have problems. So
Yeah. So, but I
I'm
always
not built
just,
for it. You
I
know?
just always assume that after I quit smoking that I would be able to do cardio better. But now that's not, doing cardio better isn't the point of what I try to do. Now I know that my lungs need help and my heart needs help. So that's why I do the cardio, because I'm trying to reverse that damage that I did.
And the more you do cardio,
it, so that's why it's not going to be.
I
You
don't-
can't
yeah.
do cardio better because you don't find it.
well, no, and
enjoy
also,
it.
you know,
That's
that the more you do cardio, the easier it's supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
I don't know.
Unless you hate it.
Unless you hate
But
it.
you know, actually, I just found something that helps me. So I do a 5K race, the colon cancer race, actually this month, the end of the month. That's about the only race I'll pay for. You know, so it's a 5K, and one of the things I've been doing, so I've been running, and I don't know if you've ever used, or everybody knows about Peloton, right? Well, one of the things I didn't realize was you don't need to have the bike or the treadmill to use it. It's just, you can use the app. So that's what I've been doing, is getting on the treadmill, picking a 20-minute, intermediate workout for, and a lot of intervals. That's what I've been doing. And, you know, find the music that I like with the instructor that I like, and 20 minutes where it guides you. It tells you what you need to do. And so that way I don't have to think about it, but I have to be engaged because I have to listen.
Yeah.
And they picked out the music. A lot of it's music I haven't heard, so, you know, as long as it's the right genre, because the other day I picked out one and it was like the longest 20 minutes of all time. But so, you know, you find things to help you, right? So I was like, well, what can I do to make this a little easier, this 20 minutes not seem like 6 hours of torture. So that's what I've been doing, like 2 to 3 times a week, is after my weightlifting, I go and it's a 20-minute, you know, I can do 20 minutes and I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
They said, the instructor tells me when to incline, when to reduce the speed, or it's done. And so that's made it a lot easier for me.
I'll have to try that.
So, you know, I hate it too, and so I always look for ways to make it tolerable, or make it, because I know I have to do it.
Yeah. Well,
And
one
so
thing.
it doesn't have to be so horrible, right?
It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah. Trust me, I can't stand it. I can't, but I do
Well,
it.
one thing that I find that I do enjoy while I'm doing my cardio is I listen to podcasts.
I know, but
do.
you know, there's no beat. I don't,
but it's because
I tried that. That was not working for me.
I can't do that.
I love knowing and having and holding and sharing random knowledge so much. Like when somebody looks at you and is like, how the fuck do you know that? Like, why do you know that? That's my favorite. Okay.
Yeah, but you know, so the thing with running to me though is you got to be mentally engaged in it, which is why I think the
See, and I
music
feel like
helps me.
I feel like I have to be mentally removed from
But
it.
see, there's a perfect example of people doing different, you know,
Yeah.
approaching things differently, right?
So I listen to
funny.
Stuff You Should Know,
Yes,
that podcast,
yes.
because there are so many like crazy things.
Do you listen to How It's Made? Oh, my husband loves that
I
one.
do love How It's Made.
Yeah, he'll come
but
in and tell me this whole story, and I'm like, wah, wah, wah.
I do the same thing. I came home one day to my husband.
How It's Made is a podcast?
Yes, well, they talk to people that have like developed companies or all kinds of products.
Yeah, we'll listen to
and their
it.
whole like how they got there, right?
Well,
How
How
they,
It's Made used to be, I
A
think,
TV
on
show.
TLC
Or something, yeah.
Early 2000s was like a TV show.
And it was really
And
good.
it was so great.
yeah, but I don't think this is the same. But you know, but maybe,
But
maybe.
we'll listen to it and find out. But like
My husband loves it.
I would come home and tell him, I said, do you want to know how to make a shrunken head? And he's like, what?
Something I've always wanted to
And-
know.
Yeah, but now, so like that to me is keeping my mind off of what my body is doing.
Yeah.
So thank you, Josh and Chuck from Stuff You Should Know. I will link your podcast down
But it
below.
is a perfect example of how, you know, you approach things differently,
Yeah.
right? I think that would be too distracting to me.
Yep. No, and I have to be distracted.
Yeah. So there, see, we're different. We're different. But still, you know, focused on our goals, right?
Yeah.
So,
So this has been absolutely amazing.
is it over already?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. I do have another question
Yeah.
for you. So you were a personal trainer and you do CrossFit.
I don't do CrossFit anymore.
You don't anymore?
I
So-
did it for years, and I didn't stop doing it because it's so dangerous. I stopped doing it for a lot of reasons. I got burnout. I also, you know, every CrossFit's different, right? And the owners are different, and the programming's different. And I was not able to get my shoulder to really heal. So I hadn't really hurt my shoulder, but it was constantly gnawing at me. And so I realized that maybe lifting heavy a lot, and different CrossFit gyms, you have different programming, right?
Yeah.
And so I just found that I needed to try a different approach, and as I got older, I found CrossFit was just very hard on my body 5 times a week. So I discovered boxing instead, and so but I coached CrossFit classes for years, and it helped me discover. So I had actually, I was certified in CrossFit, but I was also certified in strongman, which
That's
was
awesome.
oh my god, so fun. Olympic weightlifting, a lot of mobility, which I still use a lot today. Mobility WOD, if anyone's interested, is mobilitywod.com. Workout of the Day WOD. Kelly Starrett is an amazing guy. It's out in San Francisco. He'll teach you all about, basically daily maintenance on your body, right?
Yeah.
How to recover and stretches you can do, and all about mobility, which I still incorporate so much of that with my clients, because I think mobility is one of the most important facets of just being healthy and not having injuries long term.
Which is why I do yoga.
Right, which is, I was going to say yoga. I mean, I incorporate a lot of the mobility are yoga moves, right? Opening people's hips and myofascial release and all kinds of stuff, tissue manipulation. So what else? So Olympic weightlifting, which I'm probably not the greatest teacher on that. I got the certification just because I was fascinated to learn about it. And I think I have a couple other certs. I can't remember. Those couple of years I just wanted to learn everything I could.
Yeah.
So I taught CrossFit for many years. And one of the things that today, it's funny, is I thank CrossFit so much was it really taught me proper form with stuff. So, I have my certification, I'm from ACE, right, American Council of Exercise.
That's what I'm certified through.
Yeah, and while that's great, it's a great certification, it doesn't teach you everything, right?
Right. A lot of it I learned all of by myself.
And so one of the things today, in fact, I was just thinking about this the other day when I was at the gym, was I had just started reincorporating deadlifts. I hadn't done deadlifts in a long time, and I used to love deadlifts. And I thought to myself, so I approached the bar, and I was, doing it. I hadn't done deadlifts in years, but I remembered almost like muscle memory how to approach the bar and pick it up, and all the different internal checks about, my back, my lumbar curve, everything. And I thought to myself, those 2 guys that I learned CrossFit from, they had lots of issues, right? Running businesses and stuff like that, but they really taught me how to lift. And I thank them, because I really like looking around gyms. You see so many people. Oh my gosh, it scares. It's a trainer's nightmare.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I don't like going to the gym, because you look around and you do see people who
and it's hard to not go, oh, can I help you?
And because no, you can't.
Well, first of all, some of them are like offended, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a couple young kids that, so I work out at the gym in my community, right? So there's a lot of teenagers in there. And there was this one kid that was doing a deadlift, and his back was, and I was just like, I couldn't concentrate, because so I went over there, and I think he thought, wow, this lady's creepy. Who's this creepy lady? Because I still think I'm young, and I know I look like a mom, but he just kind of stared at me, I walked away going, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. My intentions were good, but maybe,
That's why I like to be a trainer at a gym. I used to be a trainer at the YMCA when I lived in Somerville, South Carolina, and it was a lot of fun for me after I was certified, because when I saw people not lifting correctly, I was wearing the uniform, so I could just walk up to people. But that's like my goal as a personal trainer. You were saying that somebody shouldn't need a personal trainer for their entire life unless they want it. So that's my thing, is that my goal as a personal trainer is to take X amount of time and train you, teaching you, knowing exactly form and function and everything else, so that once you leave me, I can trust that you're not going to go and hurt yourself.
Well, and you're comfortable, right? You're going to the gym, and and one of the things is, I have a couple friends that are always like, Stephanie, can you help me program? And you kind of have to think about the philosophy, right? Like, so when I was teaching CrossFit classes, they were already programmed for me, so I didn't really think about the philosophy about how you program and free weights, and I kind of just, coached what they told me to coach and learned, But now, I look at it and I go, okay, we're going to work back today, and what, pushing and pulling and you know, all these different things that you have to incorporate while you're doing that. And so that's the other thing is I try to explain to them, you know, today is back, and I always do little legs. Even my programming, I always do a little legs with every
do a little
workout.
core.
Yeah, well, no, but core's all, like, for me, almost every move incorporates your core.
Incorporates it, right, but just a
Right, no, but yes,
awareness.
right. And so, you know, that's one of the things I also explain to them. Okay, today's back. Remember, we did legs and shoulders the other day, right? And so I always try, again, like I said, I try to explain kind of what we're doing and why we're doing it and what they should be feeling.
Yeah.
You know.
I do that to you all the time.
I do that too. No, no, but that's the sign of a good trainer is because they're paying you not only to motivate them, and you know, and again, it's based on the goals. I have some clients don't want to learn. They just want you to push them. They want to come and they don't want to think, right? But slowly, hopefully, you convince them that it's important that they take ownership and control and awareness of what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Because if something doesn't feel comfortable to them, I always find that sometimes some people are lemmings, right? They'll just do what you tell them to do. It hurts like you know, MF, and they're still doing it, and you're like, well, if it hurts that bad and it feels awkward, say something. Maybe it's supposed to feel awkward, maybe, but maybe it's not.
When they come back the next time and be like, when I was here last week,
I pulled the whole tendon and blah,
like,
blah, blah.
why didn't you say anything?
Well, remember we were doing leg curls, and I probably hadn't like stretched properly, didn't warm up enough, and so I felt it kind of like pulling in the tendons here, and then just kept doing it anyways, and then was really sore and in a lot of pain the next day because I realized because it was hurting.
It probably, right?
Because it was hurting in this tendon.
Yeah.
That from them doing those 50-pound leg curls, I was really only using this leg because it hurt.
You were adapting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, what's funny is I always tell my clients, is speak up, like, if you have a question, like, I feel like a lot of times, especially women, right, because they haven't been taught how to lift, they haven't been taught, you know, body awareness and that kind of stuff, that they don't necessarily, they don't know what they don't know, but they know something, like they know they have a question about it, or they know something doesn't feel right, and maybe it's supposed to feel awkward, right?
Yeah, a lot of that shit's awkward.
But right, but if it feels awkward and you don't know that it's supposed to, say something. If you want, like, if you're not feeling well that day and, you know, even though it's leg day or something and your leg hurts really bad, say something. Maybe as a trainer, I'll be like, well, what hurts? You know, let's, you know, maybe we'll just go light weights today. You know what I mean? But you have to be the owner of your experience. And you can't trust, I'm not in your body. Right, and just like we said, my body is different than your body, right? The amount of weight I can do or my mobility is different than yours, and so sort of like everything's parallel, right? So sort of like my husband's cancer journey, you have to be your advocate, right? And you can't just trust. I mean, there's a when I say you can't just trust, I mean, obviously you have to trust your trainer, but you can't just blindly follow.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
You
Just
know?
make yourself aware.
If
Make
you're not
yourself
losing weight,
knowledgeable.
say something. You know, am I supposed to be losing weight because I've like gained 15 pounds and
or
I
feeling stronger, or confident, or anything like that.
Or I saw a video on this and I really want to try this. You know, send it to them. Be the advocate for you know yourself. You know, I always do that. Like, I'll look through YouTube. I have some people I follow, and they'll do some cool moves, right? And I'll be like, oh, that's great. Like, I never thought about that.
I actually just said that to Aubrey the other day. Yesterday, I think it was, because there's a trainer that we follow on Instagram, and she was doing side lunges, but as she was coming up with her opposite leg, dragging a plate weight.
Huh. Yeah.
For her adductors.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, we have to do this.
Right, so that's what you know, that's a lot of it is, you know, some of my clients will send me a video and go, can we try this, you know, and I'll be like, let me look it over and let me see, and, you know, can they do it, right? I mean, will they not get hurt, or what's a modification? You know, it's their personal journey, they're paying.
Okay, loose hair, itchy.
You know, they're paying. And so one of the things I always feel is like, you have to be your advocate. So if something's not working, or even if, you know, I have a couple friends that are like, I can't leave my trainer, right? Even though I'm not happy with them. And I always laugh to them, because it's like the hairdresser, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have this relationship with them and it's personal. But at the end of the day, you're paying them. It's a business for them, right? I mean, again, I don't do it to make a lot of money, but you're paying.
You're still paying.
It's a service, right? If you're not getting what you're paid for, one, speak up. Or two, even if you've spoken up and it's still not changing, or you're just not happy, it's okay to be your advocate and go somewhere else.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
And if your
100%.
trainer takes it personally, then that's on them.
That's their own problem.
Because I don't want to train someone that's not comfortable with me. I don't want to train someone that doesn't feel like I can help them or that isn't open to it, right?
It's all about
I don't
the
want to work with someone that doesn't
relationship.
want to work with me. You know, because then I won't be successful.
Yeah, because we're taught as personal trainers when we're getting certified to build that rapport and the client relationship and everything, and that's very important. But on the other end, on the client side, my idea of a client relationship is completely different than their idea of their relationship with me. And while yes, you have to be open and trusting, it has to be to the point.
There has to be a value for you.
Of that, the added value to them.
Right, and that's, so when I mentioned how I've been going through some changes lately, that's something I've learned the last few years is what's the value to me, right? So, there's got to be a mutual value, right?
Yeah.
And when you are bringing value to a situation, but you're not getting the value back, that's when you stop and you say, wait a minute, how can I make the value reappear, or what, maybe the value changed, maybe the value's gone, right? That's the universe telling you, step back and take a look at this situation.
Reassess.
And is it time to move on? Is it time to get a new trainer? Is it time to have a heart-to-heart with your trainer and come up with a new plan? That could be the answer, But you have to be your advocate. And I find so many of them, because one, they're fearful, right? They've never done personal training before, and it's intimate, and you have this relationship, and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I don't like conflict,
God forbid.
But I'm going to be resentful and hate hate having to go, and eventually it's not going to work out anyway. And so you're not going to meet your goals, and you're going to get more and more resentful, and it's just, you have to know when it's time to speak up and ask questions and make sure that you are getting what you pay for, what you need.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because again, because you were saying about perception and filters, that's going to color the way you view that situation.
And this should be a joy too, like having to go into a situation where you dread it, right? I mean, how long is that going to last?
Right, exactly.
Right. So when you're taking up a new hobby, I always, like the beginning of the year when people go, oh, I'm going to go jogging every day, right? But they hate jogging. You know how long that's going to last?
No.
As soon as it gets a little chilly outside, right? As soon as, oh my God, right? There's a snow. It's not going to work. You got to find something that's meeting your needs, that's meeting the value, right?
Because
giving you value.
I tried to take up running.
She hates it.
I hate running. In October, in October, I decided I was going to take up running, and in November, I ran my first 5K here in Virginia. And yay! I ran Lace Up for Learning.
Yeah.
And it was great. I did a really good job. I trained myself to do it. Tried to find other runners, but I don't like running, and I don't resonate with runners. Apparently, I don't know. It was weird. And so even after,
What do you mean you don't resonate with runners? What do you mean?
I don't have a lot in like I found it very difficult to connect with other,
make
because
a
they were like
connection.
running. And I
Yeah,
was
like,
and so I didn't share
It's a
that
mindset.
passion. Yeah,
It's a
I didn't
mindset.
share that passion with them. So I trained myself to run. And like I said, I'd only just quit smoking at that point, and
good for you, man. So you just
yeah,
jumped right into it.
I did. I was really aggressive about it, and
so it's probably helped you quit smoking because you had something to focus on too.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried to continue to run after that, and it didn't last for very long.
So you got to really find, and that's, people, someone wrote to me yesterday after I had shared about change, was that they love that I try new things constantly, and I think that's also what helps me is I get bored, right? And I know there's certain things that I won't do, and so I'm always open to trying new things. And sometimes like next Tuesday I'm going to Zumba, and I've gone to Zumba once before and I just laughed all the time. I'm not a dancer.
No.
But for an hour I'm going to go dancing at Zumba and I'm going to laugh, right? But it's exercise and it'll be fun. And I think what happens is people don't find their thing. And maybe their thing is trying a bunch of different things. Maybe their thing is a personal trainer. Maybe their thing is yoga. You gotta, and the answer is never, there's nothing that's my thing, right? Because you have to move, right? So maybe it is walking. I mean, seriously, my whole thing is move your body.
Yeah, even if you just walk your dog.
Right, I bought a mini trampoline because I had been seeing a lot of stuff, and oh my gosh, so I have this mini trampoline in my house, and what a workout that is. And you can get YouTube 15-minute trampoline workout, high knees, jump. Holy cow. But you know what I'm saying? And it's fun. It's like playing in a playground like you're a kid, right? But you have to be open to trying new things.
And looking silly.
Right, oh my gosh, yes. And sometimes what helps is finding a friend that's willing to try it too. And it may not be permanent. Like, I don't think Zumba's gonna be my thing, let's be honest. But, for an hour going, having a great time, getting the energy from all those people and reinvigorating a little bit. But, who knows, maybe Zumba will be my thing. But I won't know until I try it.
Right, exactly. Now,
And nobody's looking at you either. That's the other thing.
You always think they are. But
right, oh my God, I'm going to look so stupid. You know what? I do look stupid doing Zumba, trust me.
Everyone does.
But, I remember I tried a couple years ago, the lady had me do a twerking, and I looked at my friend and I was like, I looked at her, I was like, really? Twerking? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not me. Some people can do it, but it's just not me. But you know what? It made me laugh, and I tried it, but you have to be open because you never know what you're going to find that's your thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I was speaking, Aubrey and I were talking about taking Zumba, or not talking about like actually doing it, but about why we wouldn't do it. And
well, I just make sure I'm not near a mirror, right? I go in the back. Like, so I have little things because I just don't want to see myself, because otherwise it'll be distracting. Because I know I look foolish.
Yeah.
But you know what? Most of those people look foolish, and who the F cares?
Yeah.
I'm moving my body.
Right.
And I'm spending time with a friend. My friend's going to go with me. We're going for free.
Yeah.
And, and who cares? We'll have a fun hour of dancing.
Yeah.
Right?
And it would be fun. It would
You
be
guys
a
can
lot of
come. We're getting it for free. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's, but you have to be open to trying new things, and what really helps is finding a friend, right? So I have a whole bunch of friends that are willing to try stuff, and also because people know I work out and I'm a trainer, I've met a ton of people, and so I'll just reach out to anybody want to try this new Shred 415 just opened, and I was like, a friend of mine's the manager, and I was like, let's just go try it. We'll go try it, and it had running in it, and so I'm like, oh, running, but you have to be open to trying, because how are you going to find out what your thing is? And maybe you won't find what your thing is, but then walk. Everybody can walk.
And
put
like
a podcast on, or right?
Yeah. And like you said, even just trying new things can be your thing.
Right.
I have a girlfriend who, I can't tell you how many hobbies over the last, we've been together for 22 years, 21 years, 22 years.
Friend,
yeah, and I can't tell you how many hobbies that she's picked up and put down, but
She's searching, right?
she's searching, and it's wonderful. But I think it's that in the search for her, that's what is fun for her, is trying all of the new things.
That's why I move every year and a half.
Right, but no, that's you're comfortable being uncomfortable in that scenario, right? And it reinvigorates you. And I think that's also something that a lot of us, as we get older, we're stuck, right? And it's not that hard to try to get out of that, right? As you just be open to
Being
new
uncomfortable.
experiences, and there's lots of free stuff around, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like you can go the Zumba class. Most places have first class free. I mean, with all the places around here, I'm sure you don't have to pay for probably a month. You know what I'm saying? But you just there's running groups. There's really there's no excuse for not trying new things and finding new things other than fear. And doubt and lack of confidence, right?
Right, being your own obstacle.
But really, we all have those feelings, right? I mean, meeting new people and trying new things. One of the things I never knew how to do a cartwheel, and it has always bothered me. So when I had started CrossFit, one of the owners was actually a former Olympian gymnast, and I said to him, here I was 40 years old, couldn't do a cartwheel. It's always bothered me. Like, it doesn't hold me back, but I was like, I always felt kind of like, that's something most kids should know how to do. And so I said to him, I'll give you a year to learn how to do a cartwheel. And he looks at me and goes, I need 30 minutes, Stephanie. And 30 minutes later, I was doing a cartwell, but at 40 years old, I learned how to do a cartwheel.
Yeah.
And, I probably look so stupid trying to learn, right? I'm like trying to, figure it all out. But I can't tell you how proud I was of myself. And, the fact that he was open to teaching me. But if I had said, oh my God, I'm 40 and I don't know how to do a cartwheel and it's too late to learn, right?
It'll never happen.
Right, but I was open to it,
Mhm.
right? And that's all about, and people are more than willing to help too.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing. He was like excited to, you know, it was like a challenge to him. He probably thought anybody can learn to do a cartwheel. But, you know, 30 minutes later I was doing a cartwheel.
Mm-hmm. Then
You know?
see, and that's awesome.
And he changed my life, right? I mean, what a big moment for me.
Mhm.
And I was 40. Who
Right.
learns how to do a cartwheel at 40? I do. I do. You know?
And it changes your perception of yourself
And
too.
what you can do, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and what you're capable of.
Right.
And it goes for all parts of life, not just fitness, I feel like too. So whether you want to sing or dance, or dance is a good example because there's so many different kinds of dancing that people can do. And so, don't limit yourself to only fitness.
Well, and also, and don't limit yourself because you think you're going to look stupid, right?
Yeah.
Because really,
Or because you think you're too old. Or
Right, too
it's
old.
too late.
right?
Oh,
It's,
yeah,
too, it's
that.
not. It isn't, right?
No.
You know, and I think it's what keeps you young too, right?
Mhm.
Like sometimes I forget how old I am, right? And my kids remind me, trust me. And but I also feel that I also hang out with fairly younger people because most of the health and wellness people are younger.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to find people my age that are as open to it as I am.
Yeah.
And so, not that I'm old, but I have teenage kids. I find that.
I have a teenage kid.
Oh, so you're still probably younger than me, but it's fine. But I don't feel old because a lot of my friends
Mhm.
are younger, and I never let my age hold me back.
Uh-huh.
And because I'm open to it. I failed a couple times doing new things, and had a couple panic attacks because I had this mindset that I could do it, and then ended up not doing it well, and but that's okay.
We still did it.
And you know what? I'm still here, and people are still laughing. That my kids occasionally will mention something that I've tried that failed miserably, but I survived, right? And and that's one less thing I'm embarrassed about.
Uh-huh.
Because life's too short to be limited by that kind of,
It is.
by fear and concern about what other people think. If your intentions are good and you are open to it and you're really trying to better yourself, you just have to be open to it and go for it.
Yes, and I think that's perfect, and I think that's a perfect
Yeah.
summary of everything that we have been saying, just as far as just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is,
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. And so I want to take this here to the end now because that was just so perfect. That last
Full
thing
circle.
that you said,
Full
it
circle.
did. It came full circle, and